Hey guys, welcome to the channel. My name is Michael. I am a fitness enthusiast, a self-improvement enthusiast, a car enthusiast. I post all kinds of stuff on my channel. Most recently, I've taken up an interest in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. I was hoping to post a video at 6 months, didn't do it. Hoping to post it a year, didn't do it. So now we're about a year and a half. I just recently received my blue belt. I figured I got to make a video about this. So I want to talk about starting jiu-jitsu and just sort of the pain of that and the transformation of that. I'm going to talk about what it was like to go from a white belt to a blue belt. I'll talk about my fitness routine, sort of what's happened with my bodybuilding and sort of strength training program and where I'm at with that as I practice jiu-jitsu. And then I'll wrap up talking about what's happened with my mentality as I've learned this sport. So to start, the pain, man, there's a lot of stuff that's going to be in pain when you start learning a martial art. But what I got to say is if you learn how to properly rehab and you keep going, the blood flow going back into those painful joints is honestly what helps it fix you. I don't know how, because I've had a few injuries or like close to injuries that have felt like, man, this is going to be it. Like this might be me taking 2 weeks off. And inevitably, if I go back within like 2-3 days and I'm just careful with it, either you find a way to work around it or I don't know why, it just seems to get better when you practice. So that's what I would recommend is if you're starting a martial art and you're like hurting, just keep going, man. Just try to learn how to work around it and keep going because somehow that feels like it actually fixes the problem. So what's it been like going from a white belt to a blue belt? There are 5 belts in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu if you weren't aware. Everyone knows a black belt is the master of his martial art, but below black there are 4 other belts. You start at white, you go to blue, then you go to purple, then brown, and then black. Blue is still considered a beginner belt. It really just means you understand the concepts of the sport. It's been really, really tough going from white to blue, but super, super rewarding. And I really do feel like I'm right there. I do understand the concepts. I sort of have a loose understanding of all the different positions. Really, I mean, everybody who goes into martial arts is like, man, I want to learn how to fight. I want to learn how to like defend myself, beat people up, right? You always want to be able to scrap and win, right? That's the goal. And I feel like if you can get yourself to a blue belt level, you've probably made it to that point. Although it's funny, your mindset sort of changes as you go and you care less about that. You honestly could probably take most people with like 6 months of consistent Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu training. But as time goes on, you're like, well, I don't care about that. I want to be better against the people that are in my studio, right? So you're sort of growing together and you really lose sight of that whole egotistical mindset of like, I want to be able to beat people up. Although you definitely could, you just sort of lose that. So it's kind of an interesting quirk about progression in the sport. So real quick, what does my routine look like? This was something I was really concerned about going into jiu-jitsu because it's a cardiovascular sport, right? It's kind of like sprinting really fast and then stopping and then sprinting really fast and then stopping. If you've ever wrestled, you would definitely understand what Brazilian jiu-jitsu is like. Very similar, very explosive, right? Lots of isometric holds, lots of squeezing. I gotta say, I think I look about the same if I am concerned about what I look like, which ironically, I don't really care that much anymore because now all I care about is being able to choke people out. But my body really looks pretty similar. I'm 180 pounds on the dot right now. Fluctuates by 5 pounds, give or take. But the diet has pretty much stayed the same. I think I've stepped up the intake a little bit. It's been a little easier to eat as I've trained, 3 to 4 hours of jiu-jitsu per week. It just sort of, it boosts the metabolism inevitably. But I've worked my way back into being able to work out 5 days a week, like hit weights 5 days a week again. When I first started, I wasn't doing that. I was trying to allocate a little bit more time to understanding jiu-jitsu. And not only that, but I didn't want to hurt myself. And so I was interested in the new sport. I was just kind of backing off on the weightlifting side of things because I didn't want to overtrain. I think I probably did like 2 days of weightlifting per week for the first 6 months, 4 to 6 months of doing jiu-jitsu. But now I've gotten to a point where I'm back to hitting the gym 5 days a week outside of jiu-jitsu. Which has been awesome. I love strength training. I love bodybuilding. I love being in the gym by myself with my headphones in. That's just something that I'm passionate about. I don't think I'll ever lose that. But also being strong and being jacked really is hugely helpful when it comes to grappling. A lot of people will argue that you need to learn your techniques. Don't worry about, being big and strong, whatever. Listen, it's never going to hurt you to be big and strong. If there's 2 guys that have the same technique and they're the same weight, but one guy's stronger than the other, the stronger guy wins. Just hands down, that's how it goes. So strength training, I think, is optimal. for two reasons. It helps you be a better grappler, but also I think it helps with injury prevention. You can just sort of hold back from getting whipped around and dumb things happening to you, especially when like new people come into the studio and they're just throwing you around or super spazzy. Your defense is essentially better when you're stronger. So I would highly recommend, if you're going to try to practice a martial art, to still do weight training as much as you can. And then finally, to wrap things up, my mentality. Man, what a ridiculous change I have seen over the last year and a half. I'm more calm, I'm more at peace, and I care much less about what people think of me, especially about what they think of my body. This is kind of a touchy subject among guys who lift weights. Most guys who lift weights have some form of body dysmorphia. We've all felt like we want to be bigger and more jacked and or slimmer, right? There's guys that want to lose weight. Whatever direction you're going, if you start getting practical with fighting and learning how to fight, nothing else matters. Nothing else matters. You understand when you walk into a room who can actually handle themselves and who cannot. You very quickly learn that. So it's been hugely liberating because I care less about what I look like. I still love lifting weights. I enjoy, who doesn't like looking good, right? Every guy wants to have a six pack and big arms or whatever, but that's not the goal. The goal is to be strong and fit for fighting purposes only. And it really gives new meaning to fitness entirely. My whole world has been flipped upside down as far as my goals and the direction that my fitness journey is taking. So I'm super stoked about it. I can't wait to see what happens in the future as I progress. I'm 29. I'm a little bit behind the curve as far as fighting goes. In fact, quite a ways behind the curve. Most guys would say 29 is like the prime, like that's when you should be your best. So let me say, if you're young, if you're younger than me, if you're 25, if you're 20, do it. Get into martial arts, learn some form of fighting. You don't have to do jiu-jitsu. Try to learn striking, whatever you want to do, Muay Thai, whatever. I would just recommend you do it when you're young because you have way more time and your body can recover way faster and you're going to regret it if you don't. So, you know what? If you go try a class, go try a jiu-jitsu class, you get smacked around for an hour or whatever, you didn't lose that much. But if you fall in love like I have, it could be massively transformative in your life. Appreciate you checking out the video. I'm active on this channel, so if you have any questions, hop down in the comments. I'd love to answer. We'll see you next time.